Hey, welcome. Today, we're digging into a trend that is just all over the internet, the secret life of kitchen scraps. Yeah, we're talking about those little bits and pieces of vegetables you'd normally just toss out. The big question is, can you really turn them into fresh, new food? Well, let's get into it. I mean, just look at this. You've got the bottom of a lettuce heart, maybe the top of a carrot. Your first thought is probably trash, right? Straight into the compost or the garbage bin. But hold on. What if there's a second life hiding in there? What if you could actually coax new green life from these simple little scraps? And that right there is the magic behind what people are calling scrap gardening. It's this super simple, really exciting, and yeah, wildly popular way to regrow vegetables right on your windowsill. And get this, you often don't need anything more than a little bit of water and some sunshine. And you can totally see the appeal, can't you? The promise is huge. You get, quote, free food, which, helps trim down that grocery bill. You're cutting down on food waste, which is a massive plus. And honestly, the best part? It's just a really easy and fun project that pretty much anyone can do. It's kind of like the ultimate kitchen life hack. Okay, so you're probably thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Let's walk through the steps. And I promise you, it is genuinely as simple as it sounds. So the basic rules are pretty much the same no matter what you're growing. You just need a shallow container, like a bowl or a jar. Now this next part is key. Add only enough water to cover the very bottom, the rooty part. We're talking like half an inch. If you add too much, things can get pretty slimy pretty fast. Then just pop it in a sunny spot and, this is super important, change that water every couple of days to keep everything fresh and happy. Romaine lettuce is the classic, the perfect place to start. You just take that base of the head, stick it in some water, and seriously, you can see new little leaves sprouting from the center in just a few days. It's amazing. In about 2 weeks, you'll have enough for a sandwich or a small salad. Celery works pretty much the exact same way. Just slice off the bottom 2 inches or so from the stalk and place it in a bowl. You'll see that new growth coming right up from the middle. Now, you're probably not going to regrow a giant grocery store stalk, but you'll get plenty of fresh, super flavorful leaves and little stalks that are perfect for throwing into soups and salads. Oh, and green onions? They might just be the most satisfying of them all. You just leave about an inch of the white part with the little roots still attached, pop them in a jar with some water, and they shoot back up like crazy. It's basically a never-ending supply of green onions right on your counter. Okay, so this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. We know how to do it now. That's the easy part. But what about the quality of the stuff we're actually growing? This brings up a huge question that you see all the time in these DIY forums. And here's a quote that just perfectly captures this common belief. The idea is, if you start with an organic veggie, whatever you regrow will also be organic. So you get all those amazing benefits, but without that premium price tag. It makes perfect sense on the surface, right? Organic in, organic out. But does it really work like that? Is the new growth from an organic scrap actually more nutritious than the growth from a conventional one? Especially when you think about it. They're both growing in the exact same tap water on the exact same windowsill. To get to the bottom of this, we're not just going to guess. We're going to look at what the actual science says. And we found this really fascinating study from Serbia that looked directly at the nutritional differences between organic and conventional produce. So, the goal of this 2021 study was really straightforward. The researchers wanted to measure and compare the mineral content, all those essential things like potassium, calcium, and zinc, in vegetables that were grown in both organic and conventional farming systems. And they didn't just test one or two things. They looked at a whole range of vegetables that people eat all the time. Everything from leafy stuff like cabbage and Brussels sprouts, to root veggies like carrots, and even tubers like potatoes. So how did they do it? Well, they used a method with a very, very fancy name: inductively coupled plasma optical emission spectrometry. Yeah, don't worry about the name. All you need to know is that it's basically like a super-powered scanner that can measure all the tiny mineral building blocks inside a plant with incredible precision. It's extremely accurate. So the scientists ran all these different veggies through their high-tech scanner. And what they found, well, it might just surprise you. It definitely challenges that simple assumption that organic automatically means more nutrient-dense. So here's the first big takeaway. The study did find that, yeah, generally speaking, the organic vegetables had slightly higher levels of some major elements. But, and this is really the crucial part, when they crunched all the numbers, the difference was not statistically significant. The farming method by itself wasn't some magic bullet for nutrition. And you can see it plain as day right here. Look at these two bars showing the overall mineral content. One for organic, one for conventional. They are almost the exact same height. There's a tiny, tiny edge for organic, but it is nowhere near the huge difference that a lot of people might expect. The data shows they're nutritionally very, very similar. So, if the farming style wasn't the biggest factor, then what was? Well, according to this study, the single biggest thing influencing a vegetable's mineral content was simply the type of vegetable it was. And here it is, straight from the scientists' own conclusion. The vegetable type had a higher influence than the production system. In other words, a carrot is a carrot and a potato is a potato. Its own unique, natural makeup played a much bigger role in its nutritional profile than whether it was grown with organic or conventional methods. Okay, so hearing all this science, does that mean you just shouldn't bother regrowing your kitchen scraps? Absolutely not. Not at all. It just helps us refocus on the real reasons this is such a cool thing to do. We should appreciate this hobby for what it actually is, not just for what we might assume it is. The real payoff here isn't necessarily some massive nutritional upgrade. It's about all the other benefits that are 100% real. You absolutely save money. You definitely reduce waste. You get fresh, vibrant greens to add flavor to your meals. And maybe the most important thing of all, it's a wonderfully fun and rewarding project. There's this simple, incredible joy in watching something new grow from what you used to just call trash. So, while the whole nutritional debate is kind of complicated, the joy of scrap gardening is beautifully simple. The real value isn't something you find under a microscope. It's right there on your windowsill. It's about being creative, being resourceful, and finding a little bit of everyday magic. So I guess the real question is, what kitchen waste are you going to bring back to life?